what's your daughter's name?
No.
Nova is going to 7 trips to Belle Isle, right? She gonna need, right? She gonna dress it up good. I need $700.
She gonna try.
Yeah, they something else.
She gonna try.
So, but my son, mama, she just put the child support on me and don't communicate at all. My son with his mama right now. He like, Dad. I was like,
that's the one work at Philly.
Yeah, my youngest boy. I'm like, I ran into the principal, Easton, this weekend. He like, Cam, good. He good. I said, yeah, Cam might have to go in the service though to get some more disciplines. No, it ain't a bad move.
I always tell people. Because they get options, they get the best of both worlds. And you go reserve.
What's your daughter's name?
I like the military.
Nova is going
But if you go
7 trips to Belle Isle.
Go back to reserve. You have to.
Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Back in the building. What's up, world? What's up, America? What's up, people? What's up, Dave, Bug? Glad to be in the building. I would like to say I was on vacation, but that would be lying to everybody. So we don't want to get off into that, right? Today is a special day, and we're going to talk about some suicide prevention. We're going to get caught up in here. We was just having a male round table in here. Good Fathers Only in the building. Bug, Dave, we in here, locked in, soldiers at arms, talking, and having that discussion about fathers. You know, it was funny. I was on Clubhouse today, right? I get pinged in the Clubhouse, right? And Dave, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I think I had to change my attitude. I had a bad attitude today, right? But I get pinged into the Clubhouse, and the sister's going on about what's missing, the Proverbs, man, and and God, and doing the whole thing, right? God, Bible, she was doing the whole thing, and what happened was, it was another brother comes on, they talking about the church, the whole nine, right? So we in it, and so I come on, and I go to talking, and when I go to talking or whatever, somebody gonna interrupt me like a deacon, right? This is brother, man. This is the platform. We're gonna turn the platform back. I say, hey, my man, right? Man, I wanted to go in, Dave. That right there, you can keep that. You can keep that religion perspective. You can keep that. That right there, I was about to go all the way off. I said, you know what, Lord, it's just best that I get off the app. So I just exited. And, it was easier for me to exit than to participate because the room was full of folly. And folly the definition of folly is games and jokes and, you know, not serious. And it was full of that. All show, you know, one scripture sermons and, you know, all that mumbo jumbo that really has been, that I had to move away from. Anyway, today is the Smash Suicide campaign. We kicked off the 10,000 gifts of encouragement this past week. We've been giving out Emmy wristbands and, right? And we're asking everybody, new website out there, EMIWorld.com. You can go to the website. As soon as you go, the pop-up of the campaign comes, 10,000 gifts of encouragement. You know somebody, purchase a shirt. $1 from that shirt goes toward building a school in Ghana, right? We're using our stuff purposefully. And so we're taking care of two things with one purchase, right? We're giving encouragement to someone who might need it, and we're giving $1 to someone to help build a school. Shout out to my friend and brother, Coach Salim, who coached with me, who has the connection to allow us to help build a school in Ghana. Now, the history on Ghana and Encourage Me, I'm young, was back in 2009, we did the Emmy Youth March. And the Emmy Youth March, we fed 300 people. They got to play basketball and hot dogs. We had stage, we had jit contests, we had massages everywhere. So everybody was getting massages, right? And we fed these people and their families, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. And my Uncle Don, Corey Lucas, my brother Columbus, right? Better Detroit Youth Movement. Like, I can remember, it was like yesterday, my cousins, all of them, right? And we pulled off, I forget my man's name right now. He just hit me the other day that do the massages and everything. And we pulled it off, and I was on MySpace. MySpace was the thing at the time, still in the game. And a young lady saw what I was doing, and she just inboxed me, said, hey, I'm on my way to Ghana. Do you have a few shirts? I said, do I? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I got a whole box, because we expected 600 people. But we did 300, so we had all these boxes left over. So what we did was I kept a number of the shirts, packed up all of them, sent them with her. Once we sent them, that Christmas we got pictures of kids in the Emmy t-shirt in Ghana, where the school gave them out then. Fast forward to 2019, the Respect Day, 2018 Respect Day, rather. Right? So the 2000 Respect Day, respect me, respect you, respect we. 2019, we come into the play and we do the shirts. Our partner, shout out to the Zach Hart Agency and so many other people who contributed. And so we got these red and black shirts everywhere with a message: respect me, respect you, respect we, right? And we did a number of schools. And make a long story short, I get an inbox on the fan page, and here's a brother in Ghana in that shirt. Now, I don't know how he got it, but here he is playing his drums in Ghana with that red shirt on. So I was like, okay, that's what's up. So then Coach reached out, come get his hair cut, right? I'm talking to Coach. I'm like, hey, Coach. He's like, yeah, man, I'm over there. And he says, Ghana. He's like, yeah, I want to get a bunch of shirts and send them over there again. I said, for real, Coach? It's like, yep. So we get on the phone, we get to talking or whatever. I was like, hey, Coach, I'd like to contribute. How can we contribute? And he's like, I don't know. He said, but I still want to buy some shirts. I said, okay, Coach, well, you can buy some shirts. Let's do it, right? But how much it take to build a school? He said $50,000. I said, well, why don't we give $1 off every shirt and help build another school? Because I know them boys getting. He's like, man, it's bad over there. I said, okay, well, that's what we're gonna do. here we are. So me and Coach go way back. Coach was the man that saw my gift before I even recognized I even had it when we were coaching together at Ferndale High School. And so that's Ghana. That's how Ghana gets on the map and how we get here. Dave, the women's event, guys.
How you go?
Oh, man. It was beautiful.
I imagine it would be.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It, the great part about it, they had, man, I deleted a bunch of pictures out my phone. I forgot I hadn't showed you, but I had deleted a bunch of pictures out my phone to clear my phone. But the women did such a magnificent job in going through safety and finances and then the spiritual aspect. And the food, the video, everything was all women. Oh, we gonna talk, Dave. Everything was all women. The videographer, women. Food, women. Right? Presenters, women. Right? Everything. So I was just the only guy sitting there at the desk escorting people in. Right? They helped with period poverty. Right? Because there are a number of young ladies and women who can't afford sanitary napkins and things like that. So they help with period poverty. Crystal been doing that for a couple of years now, right? And it's such a huge thing, and so that was it was just beautiful, and the synergy, and like, they ready for us to do another one, and got blessed in a number of areas. But more importantly, the feedback from the women has been phenomenal, and they want more of the solution. Right? This was a solution-filled event. It wasn't right. It's everything that we do at BSN. It's everything that we do. Good Father. It's every solutions. Stop bringing the problem when we know there's a problem. Here's the solution, and some of us know that. How we looking and what we do, And so, how you feeling, though, Dave?
I feel good. I'm honored to hear that the women's event went well. But the reality of what I've seen, and I was saying that to a few other folks, is that women are involved. They're engaged. They've been engaged a long time. We're a little more reserved, a little more laid back, and some of that by design. But the bigger picture is that they are engaged, and they're engaging more and more. I was listening to a show, I forgot the Piston's name. I guess he's a former Piston. And he was talking to Angela, I think her name's Angela Stanton or something of this nature. And he was talking about how the women are involved and the women are moving forward. They're getting the jobs, they're getting the businesses, they're doing things that are making it happen. They're taking their own stance, So I think it's important that the women have these resources, and it's really nice to see it. As I was saying, ain't no need of hating. Just start participating. You know what I mean? So,
no, it's a learned behavior, right? It's a learned behavior. The idle hands, not the diligent hand. The diligent hand, right? And then it's an influence, because again, like we talked about before. The diligent influence, not the diligent influence, but the influence that it has on men. I'm waiting on my mom. My mom. Man, you do something, my mom, man, I'm gonna come out at you. You ain't gonna ask, my sister, so and so and so. But you're not gonna ask what part you play. You're just gonna automatically put yourself emotional, and that emotional intelligence. That's back to what you want to talk about when you talk about the men and how the four men by him, because that emotion is what's taking their lives, right? It's taking their perspective. The response of emotional, unemotional, the emotional part, where you got my son on the other end, I ain't feeling it. You know what I mean? He trying to figure out where his emotion is, right?
And that's the language. When you heard him say, I ain't feeling it, if you listen to people, they'll tell you where the emotion lies just by the terms they use. So,
that's why they was I'm out the way.
Yeah.
You really are out the way, right? Because you didn't convince yourself, right? You didn't give they too much power. And I don't want to get on that, right? But it's true. This is why the mentoring program, September 19th, any parent out there, boy 8 to 14, up to the 8th grade, right? You need mentoring. Your son needs mentoring. You want your son to get mentoring. We go 14 weeks. It's $150 for 14 weeks, and you won't be disappointed. And we have a parenting process as well for you, the parent, called Boss Building Our Sons, where you will gain some tools and information to go along. September 19th is the opener, and we may have a big star that day, right? Making an appearance to help raise the level of Encourage Me, I'm Young, and the mentoring program. They like what we're doing, and so we're going to keep that to our chest till we know for sure that they're coming. We know Michael Garrett, Dr. Garrett, is going to speak to the parents, and you sign up. So we're going to have this open floor, open house plus enrollment. We already got the colors, ordering the the stuff for the mentors and everything. But I gotta say, it's amazing, Dave, to be in this family restoration thing and actually doing it. It is amazing yesterday after the women's event, I just sat there and I was like, wow, we really doing this.
It's happening.
We are really doing this. Boys, men, husbands, fathers, women, and children.
That's right.
We really are doing this work, right? And that was a huge eye-opener. Anyway, today our campaign, the Smash Suicide campaign, really is about the gift of encouragement. And Dave, we've been using this tool to the best of our ability, but the gift of encouragement, right? Suicide and some of the signs of suicide. Dave, if you can enlighten us, because you've probably seen more violence from suicide than any of us have ever witnessed.
Yeah. I mean, I always like to say, I've heard people say this: suicide is a selfish act. Well, that would be a true statement, because it ain't about you. When you find people have reached a point in their life where they feel that pain is beyond measure or comprehension, they begin to start to contemplate, what is the out? Which way do I go? And a lot of times, we like to make judgment on people who take their lives. Young, old, don't make no difference. As a matter of fact, right now, statistically, since 2010, 31,000 soldiers, we're talking full-grown adults, have taken their lives to suicide. So this is very significant, and there are a lot of key things we need to pay attention to. But before you start entertaining the signs, you need to look at the foundation. How did they get to this point? What took them to that level? And most of the time, we'll use Calvin's word, a lot of times people are not being encouraged. People don't feel they're being accepted, they fit in, they're acknowledged, they have value, they have worth. And a lot of that comes from the external point of view. What do we do to people? See, words have power. You talk about influence, words is influential. It causes people to go either left or right. And a lot of times you can see this right as children, where we got a different group of kids. Now, when we were growing up, you got your bullying or your disconnection from your peers playing on the basketball court or the baseball court. You didn't get picked. You weren't tall enough, you weren't small enough, you were too big, too little, all these external things, right? Well, now they got the social media to do all that. And it's still the same outcome. It's talking about words. What images are you creating with these words that's causing people not to be encouraged, but be discouraged? So it's so important that we start with the foundational piece of understanding how people get to that point. Because when they get to that point, that is the outward manifestation. What we need to look at is what's going on intrinsic, what's inside the person. That's what's happening.
Man, it really is. And here's a term, right, that our kids, this is the quote our kids going to be rocking, right? Doubt destroys outcomes, right? That's what the kids rocking. Doubt destroys outcomes. Why? Doubt gets in, then they pour in some more negative words, right? Then I visualize some more negative actions, right? Oh, that's what we're doing. Then oh yeah, okay. Then we pour in some more to turn up, and then I'm isolated. So I've been, all of that has been poured into me. How important are words? God said, "Let there be light." Of course, you got the people like, man, I don't believe in the Bible. That's on you. The Bible work for me, brother. I'm gonna let you hide that. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell you, be careful what you say. Right? This is what I've been speaking to my sons. This is what we speak to the mentees. This is what I speak to men in my life. Be careful of the words you choose to speak towards someone, because the power that you don't understand that you have as a man, it really manifests. Right? Music, it really manifests if you're paying attention. But see, we don't pay attention because we want to give it to they. That blame game, that emotional blame game. So you in your emotions, but you're not in your head to make the proper decisions. So you in your emotions. What's usually in your emotions is a collection of negative words. That's what's in your emotions. Can't. You ain't gonna never be. I wasn't nothing. I hate myself. They hate me. Look at me, I'm black. Look at me, I'm light-skinned. Look at me, I'm this. Look at me, I'm white. Look at me, I'm Hispanic, I'm poor. Look at me, I'm no good. Oh, they want to put me in jail. Look at all the words, right? And then you don't have no process. So you just out here winging it, and you have no process. So, often you can tell by the trash, which is what I was saying before. Yeah, you love the city of Detroit, but I think you love trashing the city of Detroit, right? You like throwing garbage out in the street, but you love the city, right? You die for a street that you own, this block, you don't even own it, right? These are words that's working, right? This is my block. You don't own nothing on the block. Reality sets in on the backside of those words. And so this is what is happening to our children, right? So getting into reason why this 10K campaign, 10,000 gifts of encouragement. When they did the study, they said the best way to raise a child is encouragement, right? Not beat them. Not, everybody yelling and screaming, oh, yeah, you should be whooping your kids like back in the day. Well, back in the day, they was beating you. But now you want to whoop the kids, right? And I was saying this I was serious. I had never hit none of my kids with an extension cord. Y'all can have that slave shit. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. After what I felt, I love my mama. She did what she had to do. 7 guys, 7 boys, 7 kids. The community is on fire. Everybody is running. You got all these problems. I get it. This was in the 60s, right? 70s, right? You got to learn to fight. Got to knuckle up. Where I come from, my dad was bad with them. My oldest brother bad with them, right? And it just trickled on down, right? And then you got all of this stuff going on. So I get it, right? Because they were the beginning of the divorce, the no-fault divorce. So the early 70s, they're the beginning. That's the start. That was a pandemic. Plus, we throwing Vietnam, taking your kids, throwing them in Vietnam. That's the pandemic, and you don't have no place to live, and I ain't hiring you, black man, right? So I get it from there, right? And that they had to, but one thing, we have evolved, and so have our words, and so have our deeds, and so have our actions. And so this 10,000 gifts of encouragement is to get to the child, get to the person. I've seen what our brand does. Right? Now, like he got on the Jaws. But if when he rocking that Good Fathers Only shirt, that's encouragement. You see, people see him in it, the whole night, that's encouragement. Right? Everything we do, everything we print, process, or show is tagged to encouragement. Right? I want you to be the best father. Our community needs you to be a good father. Right? But then the process is our daughters, right? Our daughters need good fathers to teach them, right? And have access. So that ingredient that women are up here come. We need the women's safety network for them to understand how important it is for you to recognize how important men really are. We're more than a penis and a paycheck. And you got to stop looking at us like that. We're throwawayable, and we're not. So here come the boys, and we talked about all the time. But the 10K gifts of encouragement. I wanted to go across the country, and I'm not letting up. I got a meeting Wednesday, I got a meeting Friday, I got a meeting. Like, I'm not letting up, just like I did with the men. I'm going to put something together, and I'm jumping out. Send me your sons from 12 to 24, right? My book is out, right? The Just Ask 2, the journal. I'm doing something with that. We got to get in front of this suicide thing. And the way we going to get in front of it is dad, right? And mom, right? Take a step back. Let dad use what God gave him, his wisdom. Just take a step back and let him have access to his son. Your son, the sister posted the other day. It was on my Facebook page, right? She tagged me. She's like, Cal, look at this one. Because what me and you talk about, the relationship with the mama is so strong, right, that the boy is a makeshift husband. Mm-hmm. The boy become a makeshift husband. He don't go nowhere. He ain't got to do nothing. So where he at? He in his mama's basement. And what he being treated like? Then my man post on his page, we treat our sons better than we treat our husbands. Right? But if we get this encouragement in front of them and really cultivate them in preventing the work that we're doing now, I think, Dave, Book, I think, I know the results of that. Like, I know the results of that. Just like when you start 4 Men by Men, I know what the results is going to be because it's being taught by a father. So I know the outcomes and the manhood and the perspective. Some people won't see it that way because they don't want to give up. Book called it pride. I say it's a collection of words that results in foolishness. Our words, right? We eat. You know, what's that, Cheerio? Hey, have you had some alphabet cereal? Right? Right? What words did you get in your alphabet cereal, right? Foolishness, folly, brokenness, destruction, right? So this whole 10K piece, tonight on Clubhouse, we going in, right? I got my man Shadow out of Seattle. He got somebody from Seattle. He got a guy whose father committed suicide when he was young, right? They reached out. They want to be involved. Got another brother from L.A. want to be involved. They reach out, right? So we're just reaching out to the various people, and we just going to bang. We're going to bang. To start tonight, tomorrow, if I get a sponsor, if you want to sponsor 100 shirts, you know what I mean? You can get them shirts, and we're going to give those shirts away to kids. Right? If you want to sponsor 1,000 shirts, you can put your brand on we're going to give those shirts away. Right? But I think it's really, really important that this 10K movement catch on fire because it's not just our boys, our girls attempt more. Mm-hmm. Right? But it's, it's pills or whatever. Our boys execute. So I'll take you on a story. I'm in the shop with my boy the other day, and then Dave, you can jump in and book anything you guys got to say. You can say, right? I'm in the shop, catching up with my man Tone, and we talking about it. Sister just stepped around the corner. My friend, son, 10 years old, took his life. 10. Then I get the call. Man, Cal, what's up? He's like, man, my cousin, man, he just committed suicide. I said, what you mean? Suicidal decision. Put the gun in his pocket, gun shot the artery, bled out. 20-something years old, worked the whole nine. But what caused it? Emotion. He said him and his girl broke up. He come around, he playing with the gun, he's CPL carrier. See? He concerned. I didn't have time to get to him, Cal. I didn't have time to get to him. Everybody needs this tool, right? This EMIY that we talking about, we teaching, that we speaking about. You need this tool as parents. You need this tool as adults. You need this tool, right? Because there are some signs for you to recognize, and part of it really is connected to real structured time with your son. Now, it's different if he's diagnosed, like our partner in NAMIA, Michigan, and CNS Healthcare. Take them in. Go to these places. CNS Healthcare will take you for free. Go in. Take your father, your uncle, your cousin. Go get the diagnosis. It's a mental health care facility. Go in and get it. right? If you don't have medical, if you got medical, they taking that. If you don't have medical, they not gonna turn you away. So go get that, right? CNS Healthcare. It's 10 of them. It's 10 throughout right in this area. Mm-hmm. Detroit, Southfield, right? Oakland County, Wayne County. It's 10 of them. Go get that, right? But I say that all of that in prevention work, this 10K is bad. I like it. I'm proud of it. And I'm going to do more about it. Eventually, we're going to get up on the stage, brother. Right? And we going to be talking. And we come in to talk, and we not coming to lose. We coming to win. And, you know, I'm hoping, you know, schools call 313-638-3649. I'm coming into the school to talk to your boys. Order some journals. I'm coming in school to talk to your boys. You got to do more for the boys. I see y'all do weddings and bar mitzvahs and all the kind of stuff for the girls and trinkets and tra-la-las and everything. And all y'all want for these boys is get out, sports, go to jail, and T-shirts. You want to put them on T-shirts. And our boys is ended up in the wrong place in the wrong time. And so that's happening to the men. The men, that's why the men say, I'm staying out the way. Beat. Why? They staying out the way because they've been mistreated for so long. And this is a call from Nashville, Tennessee that I cannot take right now. Right? But Dave, please elaborate, book.
Well, again, the men you see are the boys that grew to men, right? Or at least pseudo men, you know, because as you said, they've been doing a lot of great things for girls, and there's no crime to that. I don't do a lot of gender things, but for this conversation, gender is important. So we see a lot of investment into our girls. You know, it's a protection thing. But what we don't see is the investment into our boys to protect them. They're supposed to be protector. But you don't train them for it. It's like sending a kid to war and you don't prepare them. You don't send them to basic training. And we don't acknowledge that we require basic training. You know, basic training, we do this with EMIY, we do some basic things, you know, just talk about daily living skills. But those things, you know, that's not the determining factor. What we look at is when Calvin talks about emotion or emotional intelligence, again, we have to teach people, or boys, if you will, how to control the emotion. And you look in the Bible, it tells us these are the fruit of the Spirit. It starts with love and it ends with self-control. But if you don't know how to control yourself, you become reactive, not proactive. What we're talking about here with the 10,000K encouragement is about being proactive, inspiring, motivating, teaching them to have value. But if you don't teach this because you give them this pseudo image of value, okay, you play football, you play basketball, and sports has its place. It's what you do. The problem is you don't develop who they are. And that's what's important. We have to learn how to develop each of our boys to understand who they are and what their value is and why they even have a purpose in life. You know, I'm working on a thing right now with the FMAM is that it's about being able to deliver the young man, develop the young man, develop, and then begin to help them to understand their destiny. Because if you don't help them through those processes, then they're just wandering. They become wandering generalities. And we need to teach our boys how to be meaningful, specific. You have a purpose. You have a reason for being here. And most of the time, we're not teaching those reasons. You know, we're just letting them go through some activity. And they have a false sense of purpose because they think, oh, I'm going to be on the Lakers. I'm going to be on the Pistons. Well, last I was tracking sport, that's a small number to be on.
0.08%.
Yeah, see, so what is your probability of getting there? Pretty low. But that doesn't matter. I always, like I told my own son, I said, you know, it's okay to pursue your dream, but know how to make a living, you know, but we don't even teach them that. We're teaching our kids things that are so insignificant. I call it surfing. You're teaching them things on the surface. We need to teach them how to be deep sea divers. Go deeper into who they are as a person. So a lot of these things that we see with our young men every day, and as you're talking about a young man break up, that was the notorious thing in the military. Most of the time when you saw suicide, when it came down to a male, it was because he lost a girl. You see, so he didn't know what to do with his emotion. Could he not write his name with an M16 at 300 meters? Absolutely. But at the same time, if he got busted up in his heart, he was in the fetal position in the corner because he didn't know what to do with those emotions. And then we do a disservice because we create a pseudo image. You need to be macho. You need to be in my era time, the John Wayne, the Shaft, the Superfly, the cool guy, got it together. So, and that's what we're teaching. So now he can't come to you and say, man, I'm hurting. Oh man, get over it already. You'll be all right. So you downplay that. So how can he know how to deal with emotions when you don't teach him how? That's what the term intelligence, your IQ of, if you will, to understand who you are from the inside out. But we don't teach that. And that need to be taught. I'm talking as early as 3 to 4 years old, especially these kids today. They are so sharp compared to, and I'm not taking away our intelligence when we were growing up, but they're so sharp in grasping things. But we're not teaching them the right things to grasp. So they grab, it's like smoke from a cigarette. They're trying to grasp the fading of the smoke. It's disappearing. And they got nothing to hold on to. So we got to give them something through the encouragement and using words appropriately. The Bible tells us what? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we got to teach them how to speak life unto themselves before they can even move forward to be able to deal with everybody else.
Yes, the fruit of the belly. The fruit, you're right. And it's really the fruit from your mouth, the things that it literally is that simple, we think, but when we're hurt, I was just thinking about when you're talking about he end up in a fetal position. Sometimes he ends up in a murderous position. Sometimes that situation causes him to snap, and he wipes out his whole family and himself.
Yeah, that's when we see homicide and suicide.
Yeah, murder-suicide.
Yeah, because, you find that they become angry. See, now when you move into that zone, now anger is still in play.
Yeah.
A lot of times people have moved on left the anger stage and just said, you know what, I'm done with this, and they just make a decision. But when you got them going to act out and go and kill the person and then take their own life, you see anger is rearing its ugly head at a high level.
Yeah. So what are some of the signs, Dave? What are some signs that people should be on the lookout for that,
Change in behavior. If you see your kid isolating when he was active, you see your son be displaying anger when pretty much he's mild-mannered, or you see him, individual who used to be outspoken all the time, just boisterous and always in play. Now they become quiet, don't say a whole lot. When you notice that they have this nonchalant attitude about everything, you need to pay attention. When you notice maybe they would come and talk to you about things and they don't talk to you anymore, these are the kind of things you have to start paying attention to. The one thing is that, you'll hear many people say, if I'd have known, or if I, what could I have done different? Once the decision of suicide has been made, there's nothing nobody can do. There's a reality to it. Once the decision is made, because they're going to tell you, because now they're getting ready to act. So that would mean you have to be in play right there with them in that moment. But usually if you're in play or they're gesturing, if you will, then that's just a cry for help. Right. But if they're going to commit suicide, and this I know is a fact, if suicide is going to be acted upon, that moment, more than likely ain't nobody around. That's why they can fulfill it.
Yep.
So you have to start paying attention to the earlier signs, and this is another thing. Remember we talked about the 5 love languages. I said my favorite was quality time. See, you can't pick those signs up if you don't spend the quality time.
If you don't spend the time.
See, because you got to be able to see the transition in your child.
Yep.
How can you know if your child was an active child if you don't spend the time with your child? How could you know maybe your child by personality is quiet? And all of a sudden they're real talkative. Well, what's going on here? Anxiety might have kicked in, you see? Now they're anxious and they're always just da-da-da-da-da-da. In most cases, when people decide they're going to commit suicide, especially if you talk about a diagnosis like depression or what have you, when they come out of the depression, they have made a decision. And they're going to follow through. So these are the things you have to start paying close attention to. And the only way you're going to be able to pay close attention to it, you have to spend the time.
You got to spend the time.
Now, and time is not the 24-hour clock we're talking about. We're talking about spending quality time. And you may spend 10 minutes with your son every day. But in 10 minutes, I used to say I was the Larry King of interviews in the military. You come in, we do an assessment so we can deploy you over to Iraq, right? I only got 10 minutes to talk to you. But, man, the wealth of information I get in 10 minutes is mind-blowing. So if you spend 10 minutes with your child every day, you're going to pick up something if you can. I mean, if you're in the home. You're going to pick up something. You're going to see the change in behavior. You're going to see the change in attitude. You're going to see the change in their communication. You're going to see the change in the words they use. So all these signs are significant because if you don't pay attention to them, over the course of time, you will see the child start to remove themselves, and before you know it, they have made a decision. And this is the problem with this, what's it called, CCW? Concealed weapons, because they're allowing everybody to get a weapon. And even myself, I only own a rifle because I know that having a pistol in the house, and usually males are more prone to use weapons. Women are more prone to use pills, drink something, mix the two. But men are more known to hang themselves or shoot themselves. So if you have the weapon in the house, girls are cutters. So if you have a weapon in the house, the probability, and most of the time suicide by those I've talked to who have survived their act and left with traumatic outcomes of it, they will tell you in the moment. Suicide is an impulsive thing. In the moment, when you're in about that transition, you about to think you're going to die, you go, I made a bad decision. Everyone I ever talked to who survived their suicide attempt will tell you, I made a bad decision. So case in point, my best friend gone to glory now. So his daughter, over a boy, she took her life. Well, when the coroner came and they did the investigation, they'd seen that she took a different route. She hung herself, but she was overweight. So when she decided to do this, they could determine that she was trying to back up. She had changed her mind. See, but the weight was so overbearing that obviously it went forward and she lost her life. So these are the kind of things we have to look at because, again, most of the time it's reactive. If you can catch them and you can teach them and you can guide them and you can support them and let them know they got value, then their ability to make the decision that, well, we used to always say that suicide is a permanent problem to a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Most of the times the problems we deal with, especially with relationships, usually ends up being that's something that we can resolve. We all have been hurt. We noticed something. We all have got over it already. But in that moment, it seemed like it's the worst thing in the world.
The worst pain.
Oh, man, it's unbearable,
Yeah, Dave, that's it, right? There are a number of, like you said, that part where they change, even when they sleep too much. But here's some points for you parents who, right, that where you can spend some time. Mm-hmm. Interrupt the video game that you gave them that's babysitting them. Mm-hmm. Go down to the video game, sit next to them, ask them to teach you how to play the video game. Right? While you're playing the video game with them, interview them. Mm-hmm. Ask questions, right? While you play this game, right? Don't give them so much violence. Mm-hmm. Right? When you spending time with your kids, with your sons, I always suggest cut the TV, the radio, cut the noise. Mm-hmm. Immediately off. No distractions, right? So when you cut the noise off, you cut the TV off, you cut the music off, now you get to the person. You got 100% attention. The other piece is the encouragement piece, how to use the encouragement piece. I'm going to tell you this is how you do it, right? And it's this simple. If they give you an inch, celebrate that inch. Mm-hmm. Tell them how proud you are that they accomplished that inch. Education is another area that you lose them. Bullying is another area that you lose them, because bullying is also another way that they're not protected by being prepared on how to handle a bully. Mm-hmm. Right? When we were coming up, we was told to bust a bully in the face. That was different. You know what I mean? And today, we're saying there is another alternative, right? Even in the children's book, we teach them how to pull in other people to prevent the bully from being the bully. Usually the bully, if you start asking the questions to the bully, they are only being this way because of what's going on at home with them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times you can interrupt a bully by asking them, why me? Mm-hmm. Why are you choosing me to want to be physical with or want to put your hands on? What have I done to you, or what is going on at your house that you got to put your hands on me, right? That you feel that you can, right? So that's just a couple of the small little things around bullying, right? Where we come from, we snap. right? Of forgotten art. Because today, if you are cracking jokes, right? Here come the bully. The bully want to crack joke, but God forbid you the one that's cracking jokes. So the bully is irate because you can crack jokes better, right? But that's when you know that the bully is vulnerable, and that's when you learn right there. Okay, now I know how to handle this bully. Because the bully thinks everybody's supposed to have his attention. I'll never forget the case. I was working over at my son at the middle school at over there off of Ludington, right? And I'm at the middle school, and the boy, he walking around, you know, cracking jokes on everybody in the hallway. Well, the girl, she had the jokes. She had the jokes, right? And so here he come with the jokes. And the girl then dropped 2 of them on him, right? Now he all in the hallway. You got to take him out the class. They had to put him in another class. I said, hold on. Whoa. I went in the class, said, hold on. Come here. He looking. I said, hey, man, now I've been watching you walk around here snap on all these people. We done told you to stop 100 times. The girl snapped back on you. Look at you. He like, oh, Mr. Man. I said, no. Bring it down. Look at you. Look at what you just put everybody through because you were snapping, but she snapped, got 2 of them. I'm talking about she got 2 cold ones too. One of them, hey man, I'll never forget, but I tried not to laugh. But they were so cold, right. It caught everybody off guard because she don't say much. Right? But he picked on her and she was like, bink, and it was, oh, she talking about my mama. Oh, that's it. So he wanted to make it all about that, right? And so when we brought them together, he knew that she lost her father. He over here decided to take a shot at her about losing her father. So now I said, now look at you. Oh, yeah, you say, that's what I'm trying to get you to see, son. Right here. So they left me with him. I said, that's what I'm trying to get you to see. Right? You are emotional. That's why you pick on everybody else to hide, because I'm watching you. Classroom, you jump from classroom to classroom because you're not prepared. You see? We got a caller? You jump from classroom to classroom because you're not prepared, right? But you snapping on people and having a ball. Then when we finally break it down and settle him down, we see he got the bold grades. Yeah, he an athlete. Yeah, everybody like, Well, that ain't gonna work in high school.
Well, that's those emotional insecurities that exist with a lot of bullies. You know, there's a lot of insecurities. Even when you see adults. You can determine, they say, I get them told, or he go off. A lot of times people just haven't built a strong foundation emotionally, so that's how they handle things. And once you learn, see, all outward behavior is something going on internally. What's in a man come out of a man. So like you said, you got a kid that got other things going on, and once he's been exposed, then you see the next level of emotion. Those are the insecurities riding him. That's why he jumped out of the way and, oh, no, because now those insecurities that he'd been trying to hide, they put up this pseudo image, was exposed. See, and you said the young lady, she may have a stronger, even though she lost her father, she may have a stronger foundation. That's why she was reserved, kicked back, confident in herself. But then when he come, I've just visualized what he said.
Man,
when it comes across her path, he's like, I ran into the line.
Wrong one. Back to back. No, but that's real, right? And so that's also the dynamic, like you say, you see in adults and everything. So that's just another thing, right? Another spectrum for what we do and how important it is to skill the boy up. You have to skill our sons. Stop letting things try to raise the boy to replace the father because we decided that the father was not good, and the father has to step his game up and understand and fight through and prepare, because it's a constant growth thing. We're constantly growing in our fatherhood. I see, me and my man Raheem, we always on the phone, and we've been talking and manifesting and watching our kids manifest through these words. This is what we've been doing, right? And we're always talking about how, right, they're a bunch of sheep, right? And in that process, I say, yeah, but you can turn sheep into lambs and doctors and right, but with that encouragement piece. If your kid, listen, parents, right now, if your son is struggling right now, I'm gonna give you this. This is a true formula. You can call me. You can set up a one-on-one. It's not a problem, but this is a true formula for your son. You can set your son up right now to win, to start the new school year. The first thing is make sure your son has a relationship with his teacher by himself. Go in, introduce yourself to the teacher, listen to the teacher, make sure your son has a respectful relationship for the adult teacher. That's the very first thing you want your son to do to go into school. If he can go into school and have respect for the adult teacher as he wants respect for himself, because that's part of the self-respect. I respect myself, so I'm going to listen to the teacher, right? I'm going to get that. If you can get that part, right? The other piece is, as a parent, make sure your child is up early to have breakfast before school. Don't let your child have red pop, Faygo, blue pop, purple pop, pop to the pop, and fried them red hot bags of chips. Man, I've seen so many kids that they burnt out after the second hour. So now they dragging because they'll have no nutritional value.
That's right.
And so now they looking at lunch, and they don't even really feel lunch because they tired, because they done burnt up everything in the first hour. Now they mad, and people knowing you ain't did your homework the whole nine, because poor diet will result into poor grades, period. If your child has a poor diet, parents, it will result into poor grades.
Right.
I encourage you, I implore you to make sure your children get meals during the school year. So that's two. The third thing that's very, very important as a parent and your child's education. Shut everything off. Spend an hour you reading and your child reading, even as doing their homework, especially in high school. As parents, you should be involved in your child's education anyway, in high school, even more than you were in middle and elementary school, because after high school is adult life. So you really need to be teaching, applying, getting tutoring, whatever you need to do. Spend that time in doing that, and listen. Walk with them and encourage them. Tell them they were doing good. Even if they worked hard and got that D, let's get some tutoring on it. Let's get some studying on it so they can do better, right? Let's really be active in our boys' school year. All of that, oh, I'm tired and I work, that's because you have a poor diet. You got poor habits. That means you turning up too much, or you might be blowing this week. You done blew all week and take your kid to school smelling like. Let's stop that process, because your boys need to have cognitive health. The girl is being raised. She has a like-minded person in the house. It's the boy that is struggling, right? Here's number 4. And this is huge to your child is in their child's education. Stop answering for the child. Stop doing the child's work, right? Teach the child to do his own research, making sure that the child understands what they're researching. And listen, your involvement in your child's education is huge. So get your tired ass off of work and get involved in your kids, because don't expect that teacher, right, to do your job as a parent. We got to stop that. We got to stop letting and telling and going to the school to talk tough to the teacher. And the teacher like, well, what you bring me? You knew what the hell you brought me in this school. You knew what I was dealing with. So why don't you come in and have a conversation about tutoring and all of that? Well, he told me he don't like me. You don't like me. Don't nobody care nothing. That's from your childhood. This kid gets a fresh and needs to be taught. You should be involved. 5. Here's a great one, Dave. Number 5, right? 5 being that for the boy, exercise in a routine is paramount. Every night your son should be doing some push-ups or some sit-ups to go to bed, to tire himself out, right? You should limit, just during the school year, the screen time should be limited completely, because they have to spend a lot of time doing research on computers and everything else. They shouldn't be allowed to see no video games or anything like that during the week. It should be during the weekend, and you only get a little bit of that, and they should have a routine so they get proper rest and proper food to get a proper education and grades. For the impoverished home, right? In these impoverished homes where they said that poverty is a big issue, right? And they said poverty, you know, everybody say poverty, oh, I'm poor, or whatever. Share your food. Share your food. Don't be out here and you get it one eating, and here's the eating, and you're going to eat up all the food. Share that food. Package a little bit away because your body don't need all of that. Get you some in, save it. Save it for another meal, right? Because you're in an impoverished situation. You can't eat what everybody else eat, and your friends and neighbors and everybody else. If we just share information, food, and success, things will get better for that student. That was 5. Number 6, and I'll leave it at 6. Number 6, more important to me than anything, is discipline. Your kids got to see you be disciplined in order for them to learn to be disciplined. If you're not teaching yourself to be disciplined, they're not going to be disciplined. If all you do is complain, moan, talk about how you hate your job, right, and feel like you got to turn up every 5 minutes because there's 1,000 damn liquor stores in this city for 300 million people, right? And we spend a lot of time at them liquor stores. Like we gotta do better, right? And so take that time for you to be that person. And so, Dave, you got a second?
Yeah.
Drop your last thing.
I'm just gonna say, you got to do homeschooling. We always talk about, well, we isolate those people that's doing homeschooling, but everybody should be doing homeschooling. What you just laid out in the 6 steps basically is basic training. At the end of the day, a soldier, when he comes off that parade field, he went through basic training, and it was all because of the discipline. Children emulate what they see. If you turn it up, you complain, your words are nothing but complaint, that's what they do. If they see that you're empowering, you're encouraging, you're motivating, you're sponsoring what they do, you're doing the homeschooling. That's what parents should do. Homeschool, even though you ain't homeschooling. The school is just an additive. You should be the teacher at home.
Yes, sir. Boog, you want to throw 2 cents in there before time to go? It's that time. And so I'm going to say this, and I mean this with my whole heart. I believe the children are the future. I believe that this 10,000 gifts of encouragement is only the beginning. For Encourage Me, I'm Young, Calvin Mann, Heather Miller, Dave, and the whole team. I believe wholeheartedly that you can accomplish your greatest dreams. Believe me, I believe you can do this. And so I'm going to tell you, mosey on over to EMIYworld.com, EMIYworld.com. Click that link and give your child the gift of encouragement. We got all month. We're going to keep pushing. But I just need you to join us. Join us in this movement to change our city, change our state, change how we do things. Because I'm not letting up, and God won't let me up. And so he got his foot on my neck. I'm going to keep my foot on yours. And that's what we're going to keep doing. So at that point, my name is Calvin T. Mann. Encourage me. I'm young. Put your family first. Peace.